So girls, now we come to the next important cereal crops. Okay, the next one, that is the wheat. And as you can see here, the botanical name of wheat is Triticum species. Okay, Triticum is the genus name. And we have the wheat is belong to the family Poaceae, just like the rice, and it has the different vernacular names, as you can see here: gehun in Hindi, then gayan in Bengali, then gahung in Marathi, and so on. Okay, so these are the different vernacular names of wheat in India. And coming to the origin and distribution of wheat species, so you can see wheat is the principal cereal crop of the temperate regions of the world. Okay, and it is a staple food of about half the population of the world. So it is very, very important next to rice. It is also a staple food of about half of the population of the whole world. And Southwest Asia is probably its center of origin. So you please remember this area, okay? The Southwest Asia, which is probably the center of origin of wheat um, crop. Now, the two wild species of wheat were cultivated in this region, okay, in the Southwest Asia, as far back during the 600 BC, known as the emmer wheat. Okay, during that time, it is known as the emmer wheat, and these two species they remained under cultivation throughout the world until 300 BC, and later on they were replaced by macaroni wheat. Macaroni wheat is the common name, okay, whereas the scientific name of macaroni wheat is Triticum durum. And later on, Triticum vulgare was brought under cultivation, and now this species, vulgare species, it is most widely cultivated species of wheat in the world. So you can see here this species Triticum vulgare and Triticum durum, they are mostly cultivated species in the world. And wheat is the most important food crop of the world, and it is extensively cultivated. So these are the area of cultivation, okay? It is extensively cultivated in most parts of the world, as you can see here: Russia, then USA, China, India, France, Canada, Australia, Turkey, Italy, and Argentina. These countries, they are the major producers of wheat. And in India, you can see the production of about 18.15 million hectares under wheat cultivation, and a production of about the 76.78 million tons. Okay, it, it is regarded as the fourth largest wheat producing country in the world. So just remember this, that India is regarded as the largest wheat producing country of the world. So now we will see the area of cultivation, the states, okay, which where wheat is cultivated only in India. Let us study the area of cultivation. So in India, you can see the largest area on the wheat cultivation. The state which produce the which has the largest area, okay, for cultivation of wheat is Uttar Pradesh, and it is followed by Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Bihar, Rajasthan, Haryana, Maharashtra, Gujarat, West Bengal, and Karnataka. So these are the states which are the major wheat producing area of the country. And in India, actually, three species of wheat, they are commonly cultivated. So you have to remember the name of these three important wheats. Sorry, you have to remember the name of these three important wheats, that is Triticum aestivum, also known as bread wheat, then Triticum durum, known as the macaroni wheat, and we have one more, that is Triticum decocum, that is the emmer wheat. Okay, the common name is emmer wheat. So we have macaroni wheat, bread wheat, and emmer wheat, which is grown on and but this Triticum decocum, it is grown only in certain parts of India, okay, such as Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. In these four states only. And this species, that is the emmer wheat, it is being replaced by high yielding varieties of wheat, okay, the wheat which has high yield production. So now coming to the botanical characteristics of wheat, or the morphological characters. Okay, now wheat, it is an annual herb, just like a rice. It is an annual herb which has a height of about 0.6 to 1.5 meter. Culms. The culms, or the stems, they are differentiated to the nodes and the internodes. Okay, these are the nodes where you can see here the leaves arise, the nodes, and these are the internodes. So they have the nodes and the internodes, and the culms, or the stem, they produce tillers at the base. You can see these tillers. Now what are tillers? Tillers, they are the stem produced by these wheat plants. They are actually the shoot that grow after the initial parent shoot. Okay, so tillers, they grow, these tillers, they grow after these initial parent shoot, and the roots form in the seedling stage. They are ephemeral. Okay, the roots, they are ephemeral. Ephemeral meaning they last only for a very short time. And these roots which are formed in the seedling stage, since they last only for a short period of time, they are soon replaced by the adventitious fibrous roots which arise from the underground nodes of the stem, or the culm. And coming to the inflorescence, okay, the inflorescence here in wheat is a terminal spike. Okay, and as you can see here, the spike, this one, it consists of around 15 to 20 spikelets. Okay, and as you can see in this figure, these spikelets, they are arranged in an alternate fashion on a short, this short central, sorry, this one, on a central axis. Okay, they are arranged alternately. Wait, I'll show you another diagram. Okay, so this one is a spike here. Okay, this one. So there are many spikelets which are arranged alternately in the central axis, and the spikelet, it is enclosed by a pair of glumes and consists of 1 to 5 florets. Okay, glumes meaning the bracts surrounding the spikelets. This one you can see here, these are the glumes. In figure 2, just take a look at a single spikelet. You can see in the last figure here we have the spikelets arranged alternately. So here in the last figure, this last figure here, you can see the spikelets. They are arranged in alternate fashion, and you can see in figure 2 where a single spikelet, it has these outer covering. Okay, the bracts which surround the spikelets, they are referred to as the glumes. And here this spikelet is enclosed by a pair of glumes. You can see two glumes here. So it is enclosed by a pair of glumes, and it consists of about 1 to 5 uh, it consists around 1 to 5 florets. Okay, so you can see here there are around 1 to 5 florets right on top here. You can see this one. Okay, there are around 1 to 5 florets, and these are the glumes, this one and this one here. So there are a pair of glumes, and the florets are 4 to 5 in numbers. And also each floret, it has its own lemma and also a thin pali, a lemma that is part of a spikelet enclosing the floret. So this here, the it is a single floret. Okay, you can see in a single flower it has its own lemma, that is the lemma that is the part of the spikelet which enclose this floret, and also it has a pali, that is the interior shaft. Okay, that this is the pali, investing two lodicules. Okay, there are two lodicules and three stamens. I hope you can see here clearly. This is the single stamen, this is another stamen, and this is another stamen. So there are three stamens and a single pistil. Okay, and a single pistil, and the green is a dry one seeded indehiscent fruit. Okay, indehiscent fruit. Why? Because indehiscent meaning not splitting open. Okay, it is not open, and this fruit is known as caryopsis. Okay, and the endosperm here, it makes up about 82% of the grain by weight. So the endosperm is large, it makes up about 82% of the grain by weight, and this endosperm is delimited, that is, it is having a fixed boundaries. Okay, it is delimited by alluron layer. Now the alluron layer, it is the outer covering. Okay, the outer covering of the endosperm, and this alluron layer, this endosperm, it is very rich in nutrients such as proteins, vitamins of the B group vitamins, and also different minerals. So this is the botanical now coming to the cultivation, the climate. Okay, wheat is adapted to a variety of climates. Okay, it is adapted to a variety of climates, and it is mostly grown in warm temperate regions of the world. But not only in warm temperate regions, it is also cultivated in the Arctic regions and in near the equator. So you can see that it is adapted to various climatic conditions, from the warm temperate regions to the Arctic regions. Okay, and cool winters followed by a relatively dry and warm summers, and also a moderate rainfall of about 30 to 19 centimeter. It favors the growth of the wheat crop. They are the most suitable for the crop to grow. And just remember this one, high temperature combined with high humidity is very harmful for the crop. It cannot grow in high humidity as well as high temperature. And this wheat, it is actually it can be grown in all kinds of soils. Okay, all kinds of soils except those soils which are saline or acidic soils, and also waterlogged conditions. It cannot grow in these types of soil, or else it can be grown on all other kinds of soil. And also the coming to the cultivation. Okay, now coming to the cultivation, this wheat plant, it is in India, it is usually grown as a rabi crop. So just like rice, if you remember, we have a kharif and a rabi crop. Okay, it depends on the time where it is grown. So in India, just remember that wheat is usually grown as a rabi crop, and actually there are five soil types. Okay, five, on the basis of soil types there are five wheat growing regions, which have been recognized in India. So these are the different regions, the five growing regions, okay, which is based on the soil types, the different soil types available in India. For example, you can see here the number one is the Gangetic alluvium of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and we have the Indus alluvium of Punjab, then black soil regions of central and southern India, the hilly regions of Himalayas and Sivaliks, and the desert region, the desert soil of Rajasthan. So these are the five growing regions which have been recognized in India for growing of wheat. And as I had mentioned, that wheat is grown as a rabi crop, usually in the month of October to late November. Okay, so the field for cultivation, we see that the field here it is thoroughly prepared and irrigated, okay, for uniform germination. And these seeds they are usually treated with this uh, chemical agrocin GN before sowing. This why they apply this chemical pesticide in order to reduce the infection of those seed-borne diseases, okay, because various fungi and bacteria they can cause diseases in the seeds. So the seeds of wheat they are very prone to diseases caused by fungi and bacteria. So that is why before sowing it is important to treat the seeds. And sowing is done either, you can see here again, either by broadcasting or by dibbling. Now broadcasting, actually it is the process of scattering the seeds by hand. Okay, you'll just throw and scatter the seeds by hand, or it is done mechanically over a relatively large area. But dibbling actually, because they use a dibber. Okay, it is this dibber. It is a pointed stick. It's like a pointed substance, a pointed stick, which allows you to create a hole in the ground when you and thus you can place the seed in that hole. Okay, for planting. So that is the process of dibbling by the use of a dibber, that is a pointed stick, or by broadcasting just by scattering the seeds by hand or mechanically over a large area for cultivation. And the former practice here, that means the broadcasting method is mostly followed in northern India. That is, they use this broadcasting method for planting the seeds. Okay, and in you see in some areas of India, okay, like Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, and Haryana, wheat is usually grown in rows. Okay, and there should be a specific distance between these rows, a specific distance of about 20 to 22.5 centimeter. Okay, that is not so important. You have to remember the process, that is the sowing, is done by broadcasting or by dibbling, and you have to remember that for cultivation periodical weeding is necessary, okay, for better yield. So weeds they have to be removed from time to time, and they have to be controlled by spraying with certain chemicals. For example, here 2,4-D, okay, it is a chemical which is used to control the weeds in uh, wheat crop. Now, irrigation also it is necessary at short intervals for dwarf varieties. Actually, the wheat plant we have two varieties. Actually, many varieties you will see later on, but there are those varieties which we call dwarf varieties. They are quite short, and there are other varieties which are very long. Those are called taller varieties. So, those dwarf varieties which are short, they require uh, irrigation every time at short intervals, meaning every time. But the taller varieties they require irrigation only about 3 to 4 times during plantation, which is very less. So okay, this one you don't need to remember, the experiment conducted by All India for the requirements of the wheat plant. For example, nitrogen, phosphorus, all these nutrients required for the plant. So this is not so important to remember. You just remember the weeding, periodical weeding, and also irrigation is very important for the crop plant. And you see here, wheat is usually grown in rotation with other crops. Okay, so just like rice, it can be planted in rotation with other crops. Here you can see such as cotton, maize, mung bean, like that. Okay, many crops can be planting in rotation with wheat plant. And also mixed cropping is there. Not only crop rotation, that is when you rotated a crop one after another with wheat plant, but mixed cropping also is there, okay, of wheat. And mixed cropping can be done with gram or mustard. Here you can see gram or mustard in North India, and with gram or linseed or black cotton soil is commonly practiced on black cotton soil. Okay, so coming to the harvesting now, harvesting is usually done in the last week of January and the mid of May, depending on the time of sowing, because there is a rabi and there is a kharif crop. So it depends on the time of sowing. Harvesting also is done in that way. And the methods of harvesting, it also varies according to the size of the farm. You see here, in small farms, harvesting is mostly done by hand because it is small. They can still be doing by hand with sickles, or in large farms, then harvesting is usually done by machines. Okay. Okay, so you see here that after harvesting, the shapes, they are spread on the threshing floor. You can see this word here, shapes. Shapes, it means those bundle of grain stalks. Okay, when the wheat is harvested, okay, when you harvest the wheat, then the stalks, they are laid down together lengthways and they are tied together. So that bundle, one bundle of grain stalks of wheat, is referred to as the shapes. So these shapes, they are spread on the threshing floor. Now, threshing, you know that they will start to separate the grains. Okay, they will separate the grains from the stalks by the action of a revolving mechanism. But here in this case, after they have been spread on the threshing floor, you can see that threshing is actually done by the use of these domestic animals, the bullocks. Okay, so they will keep these after harvesting, they will keep these grain stalks, that is the sheaf, they will keep on the floor, and these bullocks, they will trample under these sheaves, okay, thereby separating the grain from the stalk. And grains, they are then, sorry, the grains are then winnowed. You can see the process of winnowing, I had already explained. It is separating the grain, okay, through the use of, by means of air, okay, to separate the grains from the chaff, and then they are stored. So this is the process of harvesting. So this food cooperation of India, the last part you don't need to know. And now we come to the, sorry, we come to the improved varieties. Now these improved varieties, there, just like rice, there are uh, many more improved varieties of rice. You can see here these. Okay, you just need to remember the names of these improved varieties, such as this one, Lerma Rojo 64, NP846, then Sonora 64, Kalyan Sona, and Sonalika. And not only these, you can see many more. You can see here around 13. Okay, so all these, they are those varieties which have been improved. The yield have been improved, or these varieties, they are resistant to many diseases, or they are resistant to insect attack. Okay, they have been improved, or they can produce more yield, they will give more yield, all these improved varieties. And you can see in different zones of India also there are other different varieties here. Okay, you can see these are all other different varieties in India. Besides those 13 in number, we can see there are many other different varieties which are only cultivated in India. So we have see here in central zone, in salt affected land, northern hills they use different varieties, southern hills they use different varieties, northeastern zones we have different varieties. So there are many varieties of wheat which has been improved for cultivation, not only in throughout the world, but only in India also we have many different varieties. Now coming to the last part, that is uses. So in uses we see that we know that since rice is the staple food in most part of the world, also same thing here, we see that wheat also, it is one of the staple food in most parts of the world. Some people they use rice, whereas some other people they use wheat as a staple food. And the properties of gluten is actually a mixture of proteins. It is a protein, okay, which is responsible for the elastic texture of dough. That is why, because of the presence of this gluten in wheat grain, uh, we can prepare bread from the wheat flour, okay, because of the presence of this gluten, which is a protein and which is responsible for the elastic texture of dough. And in India we see that wheat flour is used for making chapatis, then a variety of other preparations like loaf bread. Then we have biscuits and breakfast food such as wheat flakes, puff wheat, then shredded wheat. And it is also used in the manufacture of starch which is a carbohydrate, right? Okay, we can manufacture starch from wheat, then industrial alcohol, then malted wheat, and also core binder flour. Okay, we can use it in different uh, varieties. And also the low grade flours such as these, that means those flours which are of very low grade, they are utilized in other preparations, not in food preparations, but you can see here for wallpapering, then plywood adhesives, iron foundries, they are those factories, or they are workshops or factories for casting irons. And also it can be used as a core binder. Okay, core binder is actually a substance which hold grains together. Okay, and the byproducts of wheat milling, bran, germ, and middlings, all these middlings, those wheat varieties which has the wheat flour which is of only a medium fineness. Okay, it's not very fine, but of medium fineness, it is referred to as middlings. All these, the byproducts of wheat, they can be used to feed for stock. Okay, stock feeding. And wheat straw, we can see it has other important uses such as bedding for cattle, for padding in mattresses, and for packing fragile foods, for thatching. And it is also used in the production of furfural alcohol. Okay, this is, I had already mentioned in one of my videos about this substance. It is organic compound which is colorless in nature. Okay, it is used for synthesizing furan resins. It is used for synthesizing resins. Okay, this furfural alcohol. So we can see that we can obtain this important substance from wheat. And also the straw is utilized in the manufacture of paper, straw board, and building board. So it has all these important uses which are very similar to rice.